I just want to talk about the Ultra Luxe vintage Fenders that are coming out. They sound and look really cool from a spec perspective. I want to generate some discussion in the comments really. What do you think about these guitars? And could somebody like Gibson make a similar parallel line that would be really appealing to people? So that's the discussion today. The Fender Ultra Luxe vintage guitars have come out with some really cool specs. So they've got stainless steel frets, they've got cool radiuses going on, they've got cool, they've got sort of like body contouring, and they've got electrics that are kind of more vintage styles. But the key thing that's kind of come out is the way that they're going to feel and respond. So they're going to have this nitrocellulose heirloom, it's called, where it's basically checked across the guitar, which is something that you would get in a custom shop model. There's also the price point. So the price point is quite interesting. It's somewhere bang in the middle of the standard kind of US guitar, which is known as the professional model. It's sort of between the professional model and the custom shop models that cost, you know, quite a significant amount more. There's a couple of differences between these and the vintage instruments, sort of just fundamentally, like the truss rod adjustment, some of the neck shaping are different. But in essence, there's some really interesting features that make them a great playing guitar and also sort of have that vintage vibe. So we've seen a lot of this going on from Fender, and they're quite clever with their price points. This is the standard series Acoustasonic. This is a guitar that I've been waiting for years. I have played the American one, but just can't afford £1,800 for an Acoustasonic, because I think I'm using Les Pauls live and Telecasters live. This does work as a live guitar, but I don't spend £1,800 on guitars. I think the most I've ever spent was on my Les Paul, which was, you know, more like £1,500 for a 20-year-old Les Paul. So this is quite a cool guitar. It's got great features and it's right in the sweet spot for me, around £550. Fender have just kind of started to get those price points right, you know, and the qualities and the levels of what you get. I think guitar prices are just crazy, but in that world of shelving of prices, this isn't bad. So Gibson, what about Gibson doing this? Well, let's have a think about that then. So the base price for a Les Paul standard is about £2,300. Fender's standard guitar is £1,800 for a Fender Pro American series. The Ultra Luxe vintage is at £2,900. Okay, so that for me is in the middle of their price range between their standard USA model and the custom shop, which is like £3,500 to £400 that you get in. Gibson, if it's £2,300 for a standard Les Paul Gibson USA, it's £4,500 to £5,000 for a custom shop model. And yes, all the custom shop models are different, but you know, I'm talking, you know, like an R9, something like that. It's, if they were to do something like an Ultra Luxe, it would be, I reckon, about £3,500. And for that, what would we expect? So that's what I want to know in the comments, really. I'm going to talk some hypothetics here. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a compound radius? Or and these are things that Gibson offer on other guitars, by the way. So I wouldn't say stainless steel frets, because that's just something they don't offer at this stage. And I think the traditionalists might not opt for that, but tell me if you think I'm wrong, because, you know, I am sometimes. Would it have that cool neck heel that you get on the modern Les Paul? And would it have weight relief? Some people, certainly if you're working on a Les Paul live, weight relief is a good thing. I know this from experience.
I know from experience, dude. You know what I mean?
Would it have custom buckers? I mean, if you're following the parallels of this Fender, it would make it really appealing if it had custom buckers and some like just 500k pots and bumblebee caps, rather than having a full sort of PCB like you get on the Les Paul Classic in the studio. That would be really cool. And I think if it came already checking like the Fenders do, that would be the icing on the cake, because to do that you have to spend quite a lot of money on a Murphy Lab, which, you know, I totally get, or you could just take your guitar out in the cold or leave it in a fridge, which I wouldn't advise doing, but you can. And then there's other videos of people sort of spraying cold air on their guitars and then using a heat gun and getting them to check. You know, Gibson could do that. It'd be quite a thing for people that, you know, it will add some character and some vibe, wouldn't it? You know, as if that's sort of like the only way to do it. So that would be what I think would make a good Les Paul at that stage. And I think people might go for that. Maybe long neck tenon, you know. It's funny because Gibson's, you know, they use the high glue and the long neck tenon on the custom shop models. A friend of mine bought a guitar in to work a few weeks ago, and it was like a copy guitar. Someone gave it him. It was a Les Paul copy, and he was having problems with the electrics, so we took the neck pickup out, and it had a long neck tenon. I mean, this guitar was literally, I googled it, it was like a Chinese, Japanese copy from the 90s, and it was like, it was a cool guitar, but it had a long neck tenon. And I just thought, you know, if it's that like a Gibson, you know, somebody like got you a Gibson and just masked it up, because it had like the lock neck tenon, had a proper sort of neck angle as well, no volute or anything. So there you go. Let me know in the comments, and if you're interested in this kind of hypothetical stuff, subscribe. I tend to do these now and again. But thanks for watching, and let me know what you think.